Hey guys, Mighty Gazelle here. As you can see, I finally got a brand new camera. I didn't get rid of, but I replaced the old Logitech C525 camera that I had. To me, it was unacceptable to use that camera anymore on YouTube, especially if I'm actually finally getting some viewers on my videos. I'm like, you guys don't want to see my ugly mug in low definition. Now you get to see my ugly mug in high definition. So, but I was thinking like, okay, I got a new camera. I might as well make a new video to break it in. And I was thinking, what kind of video can I do? So as you guys know, we are halfway through the season of Samurai Jack. I've been doing live reactions for the past two episodes, and I've been doing the reviews for each episode as they happened. In my live reactions, as you guys know, I don't talk a whole lot, so I can't really share my thoughts as it happens, and that's by my choice. That's not because I'm doing it like because you guys demand that or anything. My channel is purely based on being a hobby and just doing videos that I really enjoy, and that's how I enjoy watching an episode. I don't talk a lot. That's just my philosophy on it. So, and then I do the reviews, and that goes in depth a little bit about each episode individually. But I figured since we're halfway through the season, it'd be a good time to kind of reflect on what's happened, as well as predict a few things that may or may not happen in the future. This is completely unscripted. This is just, I decided, okay, I kind of want to make a video. So if you guys, this is pretty kind of casual. If you guys want to join in, listen to my rambling, I guess. Of course, always comment down below. I love your guys' opinions because honestly, it's so cool to get different insight from you guys every week in the comment section down below. So please, by all means. So I guess we'll start off with a reflection as to what's happened. So as you know, we're 50 years from the first seasons 1 through 4 in the future. Jack's all messed up in the head. He's seeing hallucinations and he's fighting his demons. He's given up on his quest. He's broken down basically. He's fighting his own sort of himself. We start to see images of the Green Samurai appear from time to time, which is still a topic of debate at the time of this recording. I have actually changed my stance on the Green Samurai. I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. So we get a little bit of that in the first episode, as well as some traumatic experiences that Jack's going through with the visions of his family, just saying, why'd you abandon us and whatnot, etc., etc. Episode 2, okay, we also get, episode 1, we also get the training of the daughters of Aku, as they are sort of raised in this evil environment of trying to kill Jack. So we get the foundation for what this season is going to be. And we also see a little flicker of difference between Ashi and her sisters. I'll talk about that more later. Episode 2, which may or may not be my favorite so far this season. It's between 2 and 3. 2 had me, the only one so far that had one single tear for me. It was the scene where Jack's being hunted and he's hiding in the coffin. And I talked about that more in my review of that episode. Feel free to check it out. I talk about it a lot more in depth there. But basically, episode 2 is really interesting because it starts to bring about the symbolism. We get the wolf, the great wolf dynamic going on, where the wolf's going on his journey and Jack's going on his. The wolf gets jumped by all the people, by all the creatures in the forest, and Jack gets jumped by his attackers. So, as you guys know, that's a pretty good use of symbolism there. And as the episode progresses, Jack's just beaten down. He is already at his breaking point. He's already talking to himself. He's seeing the Green Samurai, which many people think is death. I used to think was death. I don't anymore. And as we go through the episode, we see him just nearly break completely. He's basically almost killed. He's lucky to get away. He kills his first human, which was probably the highest point of the season so far. Everyone has their own opinion on that, but I think that was, to me, just the holy shit. That set the tone for this season. So yeah, episode 2 was pretty great, and then it ends with him getting washed away. I'm not talking a lot in depth about themes yet, but I'm going to get to that once I reach to where we are in the season after episode 5. Episode 3, We have Jack surviving the trip down the river, and he's walking through the forest, and again, the Green Samurai appears. Now, again, people are still at this point speculating what it is. People think it's his failures following him. People think it's the Japanese version of the Grim Reaper. Again, speculation's still running wild. No one knows what it is. And then we get probably some of the greatest visual storytelling we've gotten so far in Samurai Jack, where Jack goes to the cave, and he's bleeding out, but when they show him covered in blood, it's not just to say that he's bleeding. Obviously, he's bleeding. A lot of people aren't really mentioning this, but when the wolf comes in, he's also covered in blood. And like most people think, okay, they were both in just a crazy battle, and of course they're going to be bleeding. But if you look a little bit deeper, that shows kind of what they've been through on a different level. They both look at each other with the same kind of look, like, I understand what you just went through. And it's even driven home more when it zooms in on the wolf and it zooms in on Jack, and blood goes down one's face, blood goes down the other face. It kind of gives that feeling of, okay, yes, we're killers, but we're not evil. That's just what I got out of it. It's driven more home by the fact of what they go through afterward. So probably one of the cutest scenes in the whole damn freaking series so far. The wolf and Jack kind of mending to each other's wounds in the cave. Easily a highlight of the season, especially when they burp with each other and they're eating by the fire, and Jack wakes up and he's like snuggling with the wolf. So they split up, and then Jack around this time, it's been a little bit since I watched this episode, he gets the flashback of him as a kid. And during this time, this is probably the most critical time so far in the series. This isn't Jack's turning point back to what he used to be, but it's a great start. It's a little bit of a spark that it's eventually going to probably light into the fire that is his return to his old ways. So he remembers what his dad said, that your actions bring you to where you are. It's not necessarily what you believe is right or wrong, but in this case, it was a great way of explaining how Jack was able to cope with death, with killing someone. Especially since his dad's like wiping the blood off Jack's face, and as he's wiping the blood off his face, he says, killing doesn't... He says it in a much cooler way than I'll say it, but he basically says that killing doesn't make you a killer. It just makes... If you're doing it in self-defense, it's okay. Especially, like, for me, I was protecting you and my wife. So it was more than okay. I would do it again 100 times. And Jack says the same things when the Sisters of Aku show up. Now, a little bit before the Sisters of Aku show up, Ashi... I'm gonna assume this is Ashi because they're still all in their face masks, so you can't tell. They stay by the river to camp for the night. And one of them says, okay, I'll take watch. And she goes up to sit by the tree and look at the stars. I'm like 95% sure that's Ashi. I think most people agree it's Ashi. And she's just watching the stars and as they shoot by. And this is driving home more the fact that Ashi is much different than her sisters. She has a soul. She has... Oh, the others aren't like soulless, I guess. But just despite all of her brutal training and upbringing, she is still harboring something of a unique personality. And that makes her character extremely unique, very strong-willed, although she has the mindset of being evil still. It's very interesting to know that she is still, after all this time, this curious, at the core, kind person. Now, they show up the next day, I'm assuming that's the next day, and they find where the samurai is, and Jack says the same things that his father says, like, your actions have brought you here, I'm giving you a chance to walk away. Clearly they'd say no, because they're basically brainwashed to attack him. And, sorry if you heard a loud screeching. My mom is dragging something across the floor on there. Anyway, so as they're about to fight him, he's telling them that like they can get away from this, but they of course say no. Jack proceeds to go ham on all of them, kills five of them, Ashi being the exception. Although, to be fair, there's one that might still be alive somewhere. I highly doubt it. I'm just saying that we didn't see any of the bodies land elsewhere. We saw Ashi's knocked out body. But, so 3 were like definitely killed. They were like impaled with like a spear and a knife and etc. And the episode ends with them falling off the cliff and just cliffhanger, literally, or cliff faller, I mentioned at the time. So then we get to episode 4, where things get really interesting. Episode 4, okay, some of you might hate me for saying this, but so far episode 4 is my least favorite episode as a whole, in terms of the 5 that we've seen. I still love the episode, though. That's just a testament to how much I like this season so far. I'd say it's my least favorite because, other than the great development between Ashi and Jack, it feels kind of slow. Not a lot going on. But that being said, I'm going to dive into... So, my stance on Jack and Ashi's relationship has... I mentioned in the past, I thought it was going to be a father-daughter type relationship. I have since changed my stance on the matter. Not like completely. I've loosened my stance. I still kind of hope that it becomes a father-daughter relationship, but I am open to the idea of it becoming a romantic relationship. I'm going to dive into this more after I finish through the 5 episodes, but just for now I want to mention that I have changed my stance a little bit on the matter. Throughout this episode, Ashi is she's still very upset with Jack. She's like, oh, you're evil. Aku says you're evil. Jack has none of it, and he still believes that he can make her good again, which is true old Jack. That's just what he is. And Jack protects her basically through the whole episode as he's bringing her through the monster that they're trying to get out of. And the whole time, Jack is constantly being nice to her, even though she's spewing insults, and eventually he sits her down and says, look, everything that you've known is a lie. He doesn't know how she's been raised, but he can tell that she's not necessarily evil. He can probably tell that, but he knows that she has the wrong mindset when it comes to Aku. This comes into play in episode 5. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But basically, they escape, and they land on this island in the middle of nowhere after they get out of this monster. And basically, she has the chance to kill him. She lands next to her... I say she has the chance to kill him, but be honest, if she went through with this, he would have still disarmed her easily. She finds her weapon, and she's about to attack him. And again, we get more development with Ashi. We get a flashback with the ladybug. The ladybug is symbolic because it reminds her of the viewpoints of her dictator-ish cult leader that she had, and the difference between her and Jack. Now, this is important because when she thinks about how the stance is with the cult leader, how the cult leader says distractions are meaningless and crushes the bug, and then it switches to Jack, and Jack catches the ladybug and just lets it go peacefully with a smile on his face. I think that was an important part because in her, it just made her, just like that, almost like a switch, start to question what was right and wrong, what was true and what was a lie. I'm assuming most of you knew all this stuff already. This is, again, just a recap. I've been going on for a while now, but I'm just sort of reviewing what we've seen so far, and then I'm going to dive into speculation as what we see in the future. Okay, so we get to episode 5. Episode 5 starts with Ashi having her own sort of mental, not breakdown, but more of hallucinations. She's talking to the moon that turns into the cult leader's face, and she's doubting whether or not she's telling the truth, and she eventually says, I'm going to find out for myself. And then Jack and Ashi, they escape on this dragon in a really beautiful scene, and They reach the mainland, and Jack's starting his fire. And I mentioned this in my review, but Jack should just stop making campfires because clearly he hallucinates a lot when campfires start, which is kind of funny. But Ashi shows up, and she says, "I want you to explain to me what you meant when you said I was wrong." And Jack says, "I already told you everything. I don't know what to do." And she says, "No, I want you to show me." And he says, "No, I won't show you because you've been so blinded by Aku that it wouldn't even matter." She proceeds to have a little tantrum and then walks away. And Jack's like, "Okay, fine. I'll show you." And then they talk a little bit more. And here's the scene that kind of backs up my father-daughter theory. It's one of the few scenes that does. He basically tells her a bedtime story. She asks where the stars come from, and he tells them that it was a spirit moon and a spirit star that like shot arrows into the sky and scattered the stars across the heavens. And basically he tells her a bedtime story, and it's a really cool scene. But she smiles and she's like happy. And I don't know. I feel like if they wanted to strive for a relationship thing, it wouldn't have gone that way. Actually, no, I can see how it would be just kind of a sweet thing. So I don't know. But that seems like something a father-daughter would do. Anyway, so the next day, I'm going to skim over this part because I just talked about this in my episode 5 review. So if you want more in depth about it, feel free to check it out. But he shows her the tree that's standing by itself. He shows her the city. He says it's like the gateway to evil. And what he means by that is we see these bounty hunters from other planets, these evil people that gather here and say, "Hey, we've been banished from our planet. We hear Aku's inviting evil in to live here." And that's what Jack means by this is the gateway to evil, because all these people fly in from basically other planets and whatnot and gather and sort of live here through this transit hub or whatever. And he proceeds to show her some more places, some devastated areas, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we get to eventually we get to the factory scene where Jack's being chased by all the little munchkins that got brainwashed and stuff. I'm kind of skimming over this, but I just reviewed this the other day in my episode 5 review. So, and we get the scene where Ashi breaks away from her captor, and it shows more great will from her because this is just really perverted, like torturer guy who's torturing her. She breaks out of her restraints and proceeds to basically kill him. I don't know if he's a robot or what, or if his suit just blew up, but he blew up after she chucked him. She punched him in the face repeatedly and just kicked his ass. It was pretty amazing. Good moment for Ashi there. So that shows another part of her strong will, and then she goes and looks for Jack. But before she does that, Jack sees all the little kids around him kind of fry for a second after the chips get reset. And he basically thinks, "Oh my god, I just saw more people die. Like, holy crap, I can't deal with this anymore." And our mysterious friend, the green soldier, the green samurai, shows up once again and says, "It's time." Basically, it's like it's time to go. And Jack finally says, "Okay." 1 second. Oh, where's my phone at? I was actually gonna... 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The reason I wanted my phone was I wanted to reference you guys to a channel. And the reason I want to reference you to this channel is this fellow Samurai Jack fan, he made a theory video about what the Green Warrior actually is. Now, I'm going to put a link down below, put it in the description, so feel free to check out this video for yourself. He did a fantastic job, and I'm actually kind of hoping to do a discussion with him in the future, because he seems like a cool guy, and it'd be fun to have a discussion about the rest of the season, like predictions and thoughts and whatnot. Basically, in his discussion video, he said that he thinks the Green Samurai is not death, that it is not his past failures following him, but it is actually his Bushido sort of part of him that left when he gave up. And he also theorized that the sword that Jack lost, he kind of lost intentionally. That he didn't lose the sword just by like losing it in a battle, but it was a mental and spiritual sort of issue that he had, and that's why he can't. That's why he feels like he's given up. And this entity that's walking around is basically part of him. It's basically a reflection of a part of what he used to be, and it keeps reminding him like, don't like give up and come back and grab the sword and finish this thing. And Jack, obviously he's done. He's been doing this for 50 years, and he doesn't want to do it anymore. He's sad. He's torn apart inside, and that's why he doesn't want to follow this guy, because he's just done. He's defeated. And basically this is him kind of giving in and getting ready to go and try to get the sword back. I think I did justice in his about what he said. I probably butchered a few things, and I apologize if I did. But basically he did a fantastic job of summarizing his own thoughts. I highly encourage you guys to go check it out, because he has me on board with this theory now. I no longer think that it's death. I think that's a far too obvious thing. Of course, I could be wrong. Genny could be pulling the rug out from underneath me. I wouldn't know. But yeah, that's basically kind of what I think the Green Samurai is now too. So now we are done with the review of what's happened. Now I'm going to dive into some things that I think is going to happen. Where do I begin with this? Okay, so basically when season 5 was announced, they had a trailer that showed off a lot of things. And after episode 5, we no longer have any footage from any of the future episodes. So all we're going to get now as indications of the future is the little teasers we get before each episode. And after watching the one that we had just had after episode 5, it appears that Ashi is now out looking for Jack, because they got separated because he left, and she's supposedly, according to the Wikipedia entry for the episode, she's looking for Jack. She's going to see all the people that he's impacted, all the people that he's helped, and it's going to help her see him in a better light. She already sees him in a pretty good light, but basically she's going to look for him because he's the only image we see of him. He's kind of like meditating, which some people think like, oh, he's getting ready to kill himself. I'm now fully in the stance that he's just mentally preparing for the challenges that await. So she's going to go through and look for him and meet all these people that has been touched by his generosity and his kindness. Some of the things I hope to happen, I kind of hope they run into the monkey people that taught him to jump good. That'd be really cool to see them again. It'd be cool if she ran into the underwater people that she helped. There's so many people that Jack have helped. But my God, if she finds the Spartan people that he helped, oh my God, and they're back for the battle against Aku. Oh, imagine the Spartans with the Helgish, like red-haired Scottish women that are the children of the Scotsmen. Oh my God, that would be such an epic battle. And imagine, just for the heck of it, they brought back X9, like someone revived him or something. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So basically, eventually I think they're going to meet together, and I think that she's going to help him with the journey of trying to get his sword back. All the while, I think their relationship is going to develop. We still don't have any concrete idea of where the relationship will actually go. Again, I still hope it's a father-daughter relationship, but I'd be okay. I'm starting to become okay with the idea of it being a romantic relationship. Anyway, so what do I think of main predictions of the next 5 episodes? We haven't seen a whole lot of Aku other than him being depressed. And that's kind of a shame, because Aku is just as important to the story as Jack is. Now, I'm going to hopefully talk about this with Hero High. That's the channel that I referenced to you guys earlier. But I think that at some point, Aku is going to figure out that Jack doesn't have his sword anymore. I don't know how it's going to happen. But it's going to be before Jack actually gets his sword. I think Aku is going to figure it out. He's going to get excited, and he's going to go try to find Jack and just wipe him off the face of the earth. And this is going to be like kind of a race against the clock of him trying to get the sword and Aku trying to eliminate him. That's just what I think. That'd be kind of cool if that happened. It's probably not going to happen that way. But basically, I think that if that happens, he's going to say like, oh crap, he has a sword. And they might have like a little bit of clash and like Aku retreats. Don't really know if that's going to happen. But obviously episode 10 is going to be like the showdown of showdowns. Again, that's just a little idea. And then I think eventually, after they get their sword, they're going to meet up with the Scotsman, and they're going to meet up with any sort of resistance that has formed up against Aku. This resistance has been referenced by the Scotsman, as well as the teaser that was shown for what's going to happen in this episode 6, because we see the elephant people kind of show up, and they say, "You will not hurt Jack. He's our leader," and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what kind of army has culminated to kind of help Jack make this last assault on Aku. Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how the season unfolds. But there's something that I thought about the other day. And I can't stop thinking about this. I don't really know. No one's really talked about this a whole lot. So this season can end one of two ways. It can either end with Jack losing, dying by the hands of Aku, and having the future stay the way it is, or it can have Jack winning, defeating Aku and returning to the past. A few things that really are important here. If Jack defeats Aku, does that mean he has to go back to the past and then defeat him again? Because he'll still be alive in the past, so he'll have to fight Aku twice. Kind of interesting. Don't really know if like you defeat Aku in the future, if he dies in the past, if it's that kind of thing, because he's like some sort of entity. I'll be interested to see how that unfolds. I really don't know. Not all the people online are talking about it, so I don't have anyone to bounce this off of. But also, here's the part that really sucks. If Jack is successful and he returns to the past and Aku's defeated, the Scotsman, Ashi, everyone that has been a part of Jack's journeys, season 1 through 5, they're basically going to cease to exist. Now, a lot of you are going to say, like, oh, wait, you don't know that. Well, we originally have Jack in feudal Japan, and Aku shows up and sends him far into the future. We don't know how long. It could be 100 years. It could be 1,000 years. We really don't know. I'm assuming it's more than 100 years based on how much technology has advanced and everything. And when Jack sees the remains of his old family home and his temple, it looks really old. Like, it looks pretty damn old. That, and we have the 50-year jump. So if you don't have Aku throughout all that time, you don't have the Sisters of Aku being born, because they were born with the sole purpose of defeating Aku, so they wouldn't be born. You have, obviously, all these different scenarios that have happened that make other people born and be alive. People die in different ways. People were born in different ways. So the Scotsman probably wouldn't be born. These tree people, the monkey guy, the guy who teaches Jack to jump good, he wouldn't have been chased away by Aku's military presence and had to run into the family of the monkeys. That wouldn't have happened. So basically all of that would just cease to exist. And the thing that sucks is I don't see a scenario where there's a happy ending where Jack is with Ashi in any capacity. Because if he loses, obviously he'll be dead. He can't have a relationship, father, daughter, or romantic with Ashi. And if he wins, she'll cease to exist, according to my theory. I could be wrong completely. But it kind of sucks, you know? So, I don't know. That's what I've been kind of pondering, and I really don't know how it's going to be handled. I really hope, like, God damn it, I hope Jack can have a happy ending. He's had nothing but struggles and fights and loss, and please have him have a happy ending. I understand I'd be happy for him to return to the past and save his family, But I want Ashi to be with him. I really, really do. Whether it's father-daughter or if it's romantic, you know? I think that would be perfect. And I just don't see how that's going to happen. I just don't. Anyway, I felt like breaking in my new camera and having a discussion video with you guys. You probably don't like this. It's a long video. It's that 30 minutes and whatever. Damn, I talk forever. I'm sorry if I put any of you to sleep. Anyway, I hope some of you guys enjoy this. This is just kind of my reflection as to what's happened, as well as some thoughts as to the future. Again, I hope to have a discussion with the channel that I mentioned. I'm going to put a link to his channel down below. I encourage you to go to check it out and just say hi. He just seems like a really cool guy, and he seems to be, again, on board the hype train that is Samurai Jack. Yeah, I guess I said all that I really wanted to say. I guess I just want to say thank you guys again for all the support that you've shown me for these past few weeks. Like, it's been the greatest thing experiencing Samurai Jack on TV again. And it makes it so much better to enjoy this experience with so many of you guys. Especially, you all share your thoughts, you laugh alongside each other, and you share, like, different emotions that you felt. And that's all that matters. I'm not... some of you guys have commented, like, wow, you're a really good reactor and stuff. Thank you, first of all. I really appreciate the comments. But I want to mention right here that I am not a reaction channel. I'll talk about this more after the season's over, but I'm doing this purely out of passion for the series. So if you guys are following me with hopes that I'm doing reactions and stuff in the future, I'll talk about that at a future date. But until then, I just can't thank you guys enough for sticking around and just... Yeah. Again, I've been rambling forever. You guys are probably bored. I've never done something like this before. It's a new camera. I hope it's all going well. Yeah. I guess I'll just end it here. Until next time, this has been Mighty Gazelle, and I hope you all have a mighty day. See you guys.